We are down to the final event for the women at the 2021 Rogue Invitational from Dell Diamond Stadium in Round Rock, Texas. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram, and it is fitting that this final event is called the Duel because Annie Thorisdottir and Tia-Clair Toomey have been fighting back and forth for the top spot on the overall leaderboard.
It's actually been wild. We looked at who was leading after every event. It's gone back and forth between Annie and Tia all the way through 6 events back and forth. This 7th match, we're on a baseball field. This is the rubber match. Who's going to take home the Rogue Invitational Championship?
Tia-Clair Toomey comes in with a 5-point lead over Annie Thorisdottir. Gabriella Magala sits in the 3rd and final spot on the podium with 420 points, but Haley Adams is within striking distance after her performance in event 6, just 15 points back, and it's Laura Horvath rounding out the top 5. The duel is going to go fast.
It is. We saw it for the men's side. Everything right around 60 seconds or less. 60 heavy rope double unders into 3 squat snatch at 145 pounds. And then we have a 165-pound sandbag onto a 44-inch platform. Again, this is the heaviest weight we've ever seen for a sandbag for the women in live CrossFit competition. And I'm looking at the top 5. They're going to get a bye, so that's going to be great for Haley. The worry there is this weight may be out of the reach of touch and go for her, and that actually should bode well for someone like actually Laura Horvath.
And as you mentioned, the top 5 women in the overall standings get a bye into round 2. 15 women will be competing in round 1. The top 10 times will move on to round number 2, and then we will narrow the field to 10, then to 5, and then the final 2, and then a winner of the final event here. Opening heat here, Jacqueline Dahlstrom, Carolyn Prevost, Katrin Davidsdottir, Turi Helgadottir, and Samantha Briggs.
You think looking at these 5, Davidsdottir has the best chance since she does like snatches, she likes it at speed, and she likes it in front of a crowd.
We start with those 60 double unders, and then the 3 squat snatches at 145 pounds, and then a sandbag load to a 44-inch platform, the sandbag weighing 165 pounds.
Davidsdottir's missed twice already. Prevost, admittedly not the world's greatest double under, but she is doing very well. In fact, she's just coming off the 67 deadlifts at 225 she did about 2 hours ago. Watch out for Turi Helgadottir.
Helgadottir's done. First to the barbell, 145 pounds, 3 squat snatches. Davidsdottir will be the 4th woman there, along with Prevost and Dahlstrom. And now Samantha Briggs at the top of your screen, and a no rep for Helgadottir. A no rep for Prevost. Dahlstrom dumps the barbell behind her. Davidsdottir gets through cleanly, and she is onto the sandbag first. Katrin is hoisting that thing up, loads it onto the platform, and she will take heat number 1.
And she takes heat 1, but it was not a clean run, and that's okay, but we still have 2 other heats remaining, so your bottom 5 of the 15 in round 1 are going to get cut. As this is a pretty slow heat.
Jacqueline Dahlstrom in just ahead of Turi Helgadottir. And Samantha Briggs and Carolyn Prevost do not make it across the finish. Only a 90-second time cap here. We'll have to wait on their official times. But we do know that Katrin Davidsdottir did win that heat. So 2 heats remaining here in the opening round.
Now this 145 is still the same weight they actually used in the snatch event in Madison. That was that touch-and-go tiebreaker that the athletes had. So that's not unfamiliar weight for these athletes. But doing it after sprinting with that heavy rope for 60 reps.
Katrin Davidsdottir will take a seat and wait and see what happens here in the final 2 heats to see if her time will be good enough to move on. Davidsdottir 16th place overall coming into this event. Her best finish was 5th place in event number 3. Second of 3 heats. Taking the field, Emily Rolfe, Danielle Brandon, Ariel Lowen, Emma Carey, and Christy Ermo O'Connell. We've seen Emma Carey in the red shorts and blue top, second from right of your screen, take some risks during this competition, push the pace a little bit, and she definitely needs to do that here.
And this is a great opportunity to get outside your comfort zone. You're pretty much set where you are on the leaderboard for these athletes. The one thing for Emma Carey that she has a tendency to do is miss the first rep. You know, we saw her miss the first clean. She missed one of her first thrusters at that fourth event the Friday nights in Madison.
Second of 3 heats here in the opening round. And Emily Rolfe, an early trip closer to the camera.
I'm looking at Danielle Brandon. She definitely has the speed and the skill sets to at least take this heat. Carey just put up, what about almost a 200-pound lift the other day.
Danielle Brandon is your leader right now in the double unders. Emma Carey will be right there with Brandon as they get to the barbell together. Here comes Ariel Lowen and now Chrissy O'Connell and Emily Rolfe. Brandon going touch and go. Carey going touch and go. Brandon through all 3. Carey is through all 3. Now to the 165-pound sandbag. They get there at the same time. A sprint to the finish, and that one's going to come down to the chip. And it's Brandon by a 10th. Here comes Ariel Lowen, and now Emily Rolfe is across. Chrissy O'Connell, the only athlete left. But if she can get in inside the time cap, she will beat 2 athletes in the prior heat, and she will do that. That's big for Ariel O'Connell as she looks to stay alive.
Now, I like for Carey is she didn't miss her first rep, but it was a very shaky first rep. So if she can clean that up, she can get close to being under 60 seconds for one of these runs. So Emma Carey, that's a great start. Kind of knock the rust off, get the nerves out of the way. She advances in the second round. She's going to do very well.
Emily Rolfe and Danielle Brandon talking some things over as they leave the floor. The 2 of them hoping that they have done enough to survive. We have 1 heat remaining here in the opening round. And then the top 10 times will move on. Remember, the top 5 athletes in the overall standings, they are already in round 2. They got to bye into round 2.
As you saw for the men, that's not necessarily a benefit other than just advancing to the next round because of sitting and waiting, getting cold, running up to a barbell that weighs, 145 pounds is not exactly child's play if you've been standing around for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Amanda Barnhart taking the field for this third and final heat of the opening round. Carey Pierce also out there. Mal O'Brien, Kristen Holta, and Emma McQuaid. Amanda Barnhart, 10th place overall, does have an event win in event number 3, the Echo Burner. There's Carey Pierce.
30 seconds. I like this event for Barnhart. I'm not sure how Carey's going to do. She definitely has the skill, but that cycling at that snatch weight, I actually think it's better for a snatch for her than, say, a clean and jerk.
Carey Pierce moved into the top 10 courtesy of her win in the last event. She is in 8th place overall, 350 points. And Carey Pierce does have a chance, depending on what happens with some of the other athletes, of maybe winding up inside the top 5. So far, all 5 of these women staying clean on this initial set of 60 double unders.
It's going to come down to that first rep. You don't want to rush that extension.
Kristen Holta with a trip just after her judge put his hand in the air, and Holta is still going to get done with the rest of the leaders here. All the women getting to the barbell at about the same time. Amanda Barnhart, closest to the camera, gets her first rep, right into her second rep. Holta's going.
Oh, Brian dropped.
Quick singles. Barnhart to the sandbag first. Emma McQuaid will get there second. Barnhart is in. Carrie Pierce went to the bag in third, and she's having trouble getting it onto the platform. Kristen Holta is in. Mal O'Brien is in. And now, here comes Carrie Pierce.
And it all came down to the sandbag for Carrie Pierce. Just got stuck right underneath the lip of that pedestal.
Pierce is one of the shorter athletes in the field. That makes a difference when you have to put that thing up on a 44-inch pedestal.
It absolutely does. I mean, nearly 4 feet high. And you think of the bag itself is nearly a foot in width, so that's getting up over your shoulders and more towards your head. And Mal O'Brien, obviously disappointed on how she may be feeling right now. She had to do singles on her snatches.
We will reset for round 2. One more look at that final heat.
So all did very well on the double unders. Everyone went unbroken except Holta. Holta's over in lane number 4. He's got that green top and black pants on. But staying consistent here is one thing. It will watch the first rep for Carrie Pierce, who's in lane 2. She'll get to the bar pretty close in your top 3. But it was pretty shaky. And then Mal O'Brien above her in lane 3, fully capable of going touch and go at this weight. She is one of the stronger athletes in the field, even though she's only 17. So watch Pierce's first rep. Almost pulls it behind her as she stumbles there. And then O'Brien above her drops and does quick singles. Holta miss. No surprise to see Barnhart where she's at, but Pierce was shaking up. Pierce gets to the bag, nearly tied for second place. Now watch Pierce. Can't get it lapped up right way. Tries to turn and just gets stuck on the edge of that lip, and that was enough time lost to not be able to get, and that's her, gets 5th in this event. And I mean, a little sad to say that might be the last time we see Carrie Pierce on a competition floor.
She did have that big moment earlier today when she won event number 6, so she was able to do that. But it will be a loss for everyone here if that is indeed the last time. We knew it was coming, but now to face that reality is going to be a little tough, but we do need to see how that all shakes out. But let's go down to Kiki Dixon, who is with Amanda Barnhart.
Amanda, that is the heaviest sandbag that you personally have ever lifted. What is the order of operations to get that thing up successfully as quickly as possible?
I honestly don't think too much about it. I just try to get my hands under it, get under it, and just heave it up. Luckily, I'm kind of tall, so getting it to that thing wasn't too bad.
The stakes are really high for this event. How do you reset in between? What do you learn getting to go through this again and again?
You learn a ton, like learning how to transition fast, what it's going to feel like, I think, is bracing, you know, for what's coming the next time, and just try to get your heart rate down, sip some carbs, and get ready for the next round.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Amanda Barnhart looking to advance into round number 2. 15 athletes in that second round. Then we will go to 10, then to 5, and then to the final 2. So plenty more still to come here in the final event for the women at the 2021 Rogue Invitational. We're going to take a quick break, send things over to the Rogue Iron Game desk. Pat Sherwood and China Cho keeping you updated on everything going on here at the Rogue Invitational. Stay with us, everybody.
Welcome back to the Iron Game desk here at the 2021 Rogue Invitational. We finally start to see the event number 7 happen for the women. We absolutely adored it for the men, and we're off to a fantastic start. The bracket style, the pressure, the tension. China, I know that you're all over it. You're loving this.
This is just as exciting as when we watched it 5 minutes ago. I could literally watch it over and over and over. And lucky for us, we get more heats of this.
Yes, we get to do exactly that. Mistakes are very costly, and we're seeing right off the bat, even if you happen to win your particular heat or bracket, that doesn't mean that you might not advance. We saw that right off the bat with Katrin Davidsdottir, who crushed her particular heat out there.
Yeah, she was seconds ahead of the next competitor, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean she's going to advance to the next round. We really just have to wait and see how things play out.
She had a nice smooth run. We're also kind of curious to see on the women's side of the house, what would be the best technique with the barbell? Would it be some touch and goes? Would it be fast singles? That was kind of up in the air initially.
Yeah, with the men, we saw a lot of touch and go. With the women, we kind of saw half and half, although we haven't seen the top 5 women go yet. So we can't really decide on what's best, I think, until we get to see all the competitors go.
And even after that initial heat, as we move on to the next one, we saw even more touch and go happening out there. So when the next round of women came out there, Danielle Brandon put on an absolute clinic.
Yes, she did. Made that weight look super, super light. But then the youngster, Emma Carey, was hot on her heels with that sandbag, and it was a photo finish. But Danielle did take the win. Good on her.
And Danielle Brandon was 13th entering event number 7, and this is shaking things up. Points are moving around, so we'll see what happens. We'll also get the updated bracket to you as quickly as we can. But for right now, let's move on to the next round of women that we saw compete. And the winner in that particular group was Amanda Barnhart, who loves the barbell.
Yeah, that was really not surprising. She made that weight look like it was 100 pounds, even less than that. She clearly won her heat. This is a great event for her. She's so powerful, so explosive, so strong. I think she's going to do really well.
And Emma McQuaid came in right after her, and near the end of this one, you see Mal O'Brien crossing the line and shaking her head, just kind of not sure if she did enough, but you never know. You got to wait until, I'm sure it takes an eternity on the athlete side of the house as that bracket is slowly being updated and finding out whether or not you will or will not advance. And we see the bracket here, and as soon as we get a bit of information, we will keep you updated on that. But this looks like it is going to be just as fast and furious as it was for the men, with sub 1 minute times in the future. Carrie Pierce qualifies. Emily Rolfe. Mal O'Brien is in.
All right.
Kristen Holta. Katrin Davidsdottir. Ariel Lowen, Emma McQuaid, Emma Carey, and Amanda Barnhart, and Danielle Brandon.
There we go.
Those will be your women moving forward. China, out of those women, who do you like?
Oh, it's so hard to choose. I like all of them, but I think Amanda looked really, really solid, and I think she's just going to get better as she goes. I think that was just a nice little warm-up teaser for her. The more she gets to lift that weight, I think the easier it's going to get.
Solid call. I'll keep it interesting and say that Danielle Brandon is going to have the fastest time here. Put some pressure on her.
She's fiery. I could see that.
And also, we're going to see Tia Toomey and the overall leaders when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More on event number 7 here at the Rogue Invitational.
We are down to 15 women remaining as we advance through the 7th and final event of the 2021 Rogue Invitational. It is the Duel. Thanks for being with us, everybody, here at Dell Diamond Stadium in Round Rock, Texas. Sean Woodland and Chase Ingram with you. And now the athletes who got the bye
yes,
will be out there first.
And think they've been standing out there for what feels like 20 to 25 minutes. No warm-up, no extra bars out there. And we saw some of the men get tripped up a bit in the first round. And this is going to be big. I think they all have, and what they've seen so far is that you have the double unders, the snatches. There has been a mixture of some touch and go, some quick singles, even some bag issues that we didn't really see too much on the men's side. So there's a lot of things that can happen. Now for Haley, again, I think it's going to be pretty tough just based off the nature of the design of this event. But what we've seen so far is that you can have some missteps. You can have slower reps on the snatch to maybe at least advance into the next 10. I'm not sure that may help into the next 5, but there is an opportunity for Haley to get out of this round of 15.
Laura Horvath in the all-black taking the field. She comes in 5th place overall with 375 points. Gabriella Magala will be next to her. Then Tia Toomey, her overall leader, by 5 points over the woman who will be to her left, Annie Thorisdottir, and then Haley Adams will be on the outside. And there is Tia Toomey, comes in with 525 total points. And remember, in the men's version of this event, none of the athletes who got a bye advanced to the final 2.
That's right. And we said all the time leading in is that there's no room for error. And unfortunately for Pat Vellner, he had one misstep, and that kept him out of the round of 10. So that is a reality check for all of these athletes, that no one is immune of having that happen to them.
First heat of round 2 is underway, and this is the first time these 5 women have gone through this event.
Tia Toomey in lane 3, center lane. Nice fast pace. Laura Horvath in the bottom left in lane 1 is also moving very fast. Thorisdottir just a few reps behind.
Everyone has stayed clean so far in this set of 60 double unders. Horvath approaching her final 10, looks to be the first woman to get to the barbell. Tia Toomey's judge's hand is in the air now. Annie Thorisdottir's judge's hand is in the air. Horvath and Toomey to the barbell at the same time, and a miss rep for Horvath. Toomey has hit her first 2, and now going touch and go. The third one is done. Toomey will be first to the bag. Thorisdottir had to wrestle with her rep, and Annie is putting the barbell down to reset. Toomey will take the heat. Laura Horvath will finish second. Gabriella Magala is in third. Annie Thorisdottir trying to get that bag hoisted up, and Haley Adams is fighting with it. Thorisdottir trying to get it over that lip. And it's going to be Haley Adams who gets in ahead of Annie Thorisdottir, and Thorisdottir is in trouble right now.
She knows it.
120.03 seconds. The top 10 times will advance, so keep that in mind. The bottom 5 times will get cut. 120.03. Annie Thorisdottir disappointed, but we still have 2 heats to go. Tia Toomey wins the heat, the only woman among the 5 to go sub 1 minute, 58.70 seconds.
And a tough break for Annie. The only clean run she had was on the double unders.
Something about being in second place in this event.
So starting things off, no one had any issue with the rope. I like the cycle rate that Laura Horvath has down in lane 1 in the black. Tia Toomey as well. Haley Adams up in the top right in the pink. A bit slower cadence. She bounces a little higher than the other women do. But watch when Annie gets to the bar. She's in lane 4. And she just doesn't have, it just doesn't look comfortable on any rep that she has. So Tia and Laura will get to the bar basically at the exact same time. Laura even missed her first rep, but Annie had a slow setup, has to step forward on this one. Now the second lift, she nearly drops the bar off the platform, has to stop, reset, and steps all the way forward again. And a sloppy run for Annie. And then at the end, she got her bag stuck underneath the pedestal that she couldn't, no matter what effort, she would have had to just drop it and reset. So just tough break for Annie Thorisdottir.
Second heat, Carrie Pierce, Mal O'Brien, Catherine Davidsdottir, Kristen Holta, and Emily Rolfe.
And it looks like we get bonus Pierce. Carrie Pierce made it into this round, so she had some trouble with the bag as well. This is her final event as an individual competitor. If she cleans up her run, like I said, she was a little shaky on the snatch. She had her bag stuck on the pedestal at the end there. She cleans this up, she could find herself moving up in the top 10.
Carrie Pierce on the lead pace with Catherine Davidsdottir and Kristen Holta on the set of 60 double under. So far, looking like every athlete has stayed mistake-free. And it's Kristen Holta who will be first to the barbell. Catherine Davidsdottir will be second, followed by Emily Rolfe and Carrie Pierce. And here comes the youngster Mal O'Brien.
Holta looks very good in lane 4. Carrie misses her first rep.
Final rep is done for Kristen Holta, and she will move on to the 165-pound bag. Here comes Catherine Davidsdottir. Holta is in. A great result for Kristen Holta as she looks to move on to the final 10. Here comes Catherine Davidsdottir, and a no rep for Mal O'Brien on the barbell.
That's her second no rep miss. And there's a lot of trouble for Emily Rolfe as well. So we have 10 seconds until Annie Thorisdottir's time.
This could be big for Annie as Carrie Pierce has the sandbag up on the pedestal. She will come across. And now Annie Thorisdottir is getting some help as Emily Rolfe is across. And now here comes Mal O'Brien.
So that's 2 athletes. This is so reminiscent of what we just saw Pat Vellner have to go through. So Annie gets 5th in her heat. 3 beat her in this one, so she is sitting in 9th or 8th overall. And like we were waiting to see what happened to the Vellner in this one is 2 places. 2 places, it's all it's gonna take.
How about Kristen Holta, who has really poured it on here late. After 3 finishes outside the top 10, nothing but finishes of 7th or better. Event 4, 7th, event 5, 5th, and then event 6, she finished as in 3rd.
Everyone had a nice clean run, just like we saw in the previous heat. Now Holta, she's in lane 4, green top, black pants, top right side. In the first run, she actually had a miss on the double unders, and then had to make up some ground on the snatches. So Holta will get done just at about the same time as Davidsdottir. But what you need here is, again, fast reps on the snatch, clean reps even more so. And look at the difference between Davidsdottir and Holta. Holta get a nice receiving position, solid up, where Catherine has to take the step forward. And look at the bottom part of your screen. Carrie misses her first rep. O'Brien goes touch and go. She didn't do that in the first round, but then misses her 3rd rep and then ended up missing again. And then for Carrie Pierce, she had gotten stuck again on the sandbag, but got it up in just enough time to get under that 120 time for Annie. And Pierce sneaking that bag on at the very end might be that one part that keeps Annie out, depending on what happens here.
The 3rd and final heat of round 2, Ariel Lowen, Emma Carey, Danielle Brandon, Amanda Barnhart, and Emma McQuaid.
$60 double unders to start with that heavy rope. It's going to tax your forearms. You're going to have to spin that with your shoulders a bit more, and those are all things, that shoulder stability, that shoulder fatigue, that you need dialed in for this rep. 145 is not anything you can look past, and we've seen it give some athletes some fits so far. Amanda Barnhart up in lane 4.
Barnhart first, now second to the barbell. Emma Carey was able to get her hands on that first, and she misses her first rep. Barnhart and Brandon are clean so far. Brandon and Barnhart to the bag at the same time. Here comes Emma Carey. Barnhart and Brandon in a foot race. Barnhart's going to win that. Now Emma Carey is going to get across. Ariel Lowen is struggling with the bag as Emma McQuaid is coming across. And Ariel Lowen is in. So nobody goes sub or goes beyond 120. And that is bad news for Annie Thorisdottir. Great finish between Danielle Brandon and Amanda Barnhart. Amanda Barnhart winning the heat again, and Emma Carey missing that first rep, but able to gather herself and get across the finish line. And now we have to see how this shakes out, as the top 10 times will advance.
It's one of the fastest heats we've had, top to bottom. Very few mistakes. The only one we saw was from Emma Carey, who missed her first rep, which is becoming a little bit of a habit for her. And usually that's a sign of rushing. You're moving a little too fast. Obviously, the event dictates that, but you don't need to rush your reps. You just need to make sure you don't have to do any extra. And usually when you rush, you get a miss, and there's the extra rep you're going to have to do. But a good response from Emma Carey is we've seen other athletes miss and miss again because, okay, now I rush that. Now it's panic mode, so I rush again and I miss the next one. And so a good recovery from Emma Carey. Hopefully that's enough to keep her in. And if she can get herself a clean run, I'll be curious to see how she handles it. Maybe give yourself an opportunity to get in the top 5.
One more look at that last heat as Annie Thorisdottir looks on. Tia Toomey will most likely be moving on. But Emma Carey is in the second lane from left.
And no issues. Danielle Brandon, lane 3, had a little bit of a slow start. She just couldn't get her rope around in front to get things going. But even that slow start, she had a great fast finish between her and Amanda Barnhart. Now, Emma Carey in lane number 2, very fast cycle rate. She actually gets to the bar first, barely ahead of Amanda Barnhart, who's up in lane 4. As we're about to get off the rope, watch Emma Carey, who's in lane 2. She's going to run to the bar. And that bar just a little bit out in front. And that's what I was talking about that these double unders can do, is take enough of the fatigue out of the shoulders that a little bit out in front, that bar will come down.
And then it's Amanda Barnhart who would get across. Emma Carey then would finish in 3rd, followed by Emma McQuaid, and then Ariel Lowen was able to get things sorted on that sandbag. And that might have kept Annie Thorisdottir out of the round of 10. We're going to take a quick break. We'll go back over to the Rogue Iron Game desk, and then when we return, round 3 of the final event here of the 2021 Rogue Invitational.
Welcome back to the desk here, the Rogue Iron Game, day 3 of competition at the Rogue Invitational. We are making our way through the final event for the women, the Duel. Figuring out who will be those 2 women that we will see duel it out. But for now, we just finished the 2nd round, saw 3 heats go down. The pressure continues, the excitement continues. This has been fantastic.
We got to see the top 5 added to this bracket too, which was extremely exciting.
Yep, the times are just going down. The pressure is up. Let's take a look at the very first heat that we saw in round 2 of competition. We saw an initial fail by Laura Horvath, but that didn't matter in the end. But Tia-Clair Toomey was off to the races.
Yes, she's looking strong, smooth, and confident. It's what we expected, and it is what we love to see from the champ.
Of course, Tia going sub 1 minute on her time. As I said, Laura Horvath had a miss, but then she came in, had a fantastic finish, took 2nd in that. But also, all eyes were on Annie Thorisdottir, because remember, going into this event, Tia-Clair Toomey 1st overall, Annie 2nd overall, just 5 little points separated them.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the run Annie was hoping for. She struggled a little bit with the sandbag, but that's really easy to do when it's so heavy. We'll just have to see how things play out.
Yeah, I mean, a tight, 2, 3, 4 seconds in this sort of event could just be a whole bunch of places on the leaderboard. Moving on to heat number 2 here in the second round of competition. We saw that one taken away by Kristen Holta.
Yeah, she had that sub 1 minute time, which is blazing. And it's so impressive because not only is she one of the smaller athletes, but she's also a masters athlete,
Yes,
which is so cool.
Extremely impressive. Katrin Davidsdottir was also out there having a fantastic heat, as well as Carrie Pierce. We saw at the end of this particular heat, Mal O'Brien struggling just a little bit. We'll have to see how things shake out. And
I don't
again,
think, she quite figured out
Right.
the right strategy for her, but hopefully she'll get another crack at it because the crowd loves her.
without a doubt. Final heat was fantastic. We had Amanda Barnhart, one of the stronger athletes, versus another barbell specialist in Brandon. Brandon was out there. Amanda Barnhart, 58 seconds. Brandon, 1 minute. But the next round is ready to kick off soon after we figure out what's going to happen here with the bracket. We've got Ariel Lowen advancing, Emma McQuaid, Gabriela Magala, Emma Carey, Katrin Davidsdottir advances, Laura Horvath, Danielle Brandon, Amanda Barnhart, heat 2, Tia Toomey as well in heat 2, and Kristen Holta, the final competitor to move on. That's going to be an epic race. Looking forward. Pick your horse there. What do you think?
I am so impressed with Kristen Holta. Again, she's a smaller athlete. She's a masters athlete. She was a podium finisher at the 2019 CrossFit Games. I'm going to go with her.
All right, I'm going to take another chance. Even though Barnhart beat Brandon on the last one, I think Brandon is going to flip the switch and go for it. So I'm going for Danielle Brandon on this. More competition coming up. The stakes are high. Event number 7 continues.
We are down to the final 10, and as you just saw, Annie Thorisdottir does not make it in to the next round, meaning that Tia Toomey, looking to become the three-time Rogue Invitational champion here, as she has all but locked up the title of the 2021 version of the event. There's a look at your final 10. Carrie Pierce did not make it in, and her competitive career is now officially done, and glad we got to see her one more time on the competition floor, and she will retire. I think we've said it before and we'll say it again, as the greatest American woman to compete in this sport.
And it's been an absolute pleasure watching her compete from all the way back. That 2015 class, this is kind of the last year we're seeing a lot of these athletes compete with, Pierce and, Tia. This may be Tia's last year, depending on what happens. Holta and a lot of other these athletes coming in right then is they're starting to go away. It's been awesome to watch her career.
And the incredible thing about Carrie Pierce is that she made it to the CrossFit Games the first time in 2015 with only 6 months of experience under her belt, and she has come up with some very memorable performances in the process. You think about Mary at the CrossFit Games at Atlanta. You talked about that as the first of the final 2 heats take to the field. Ariel Lowen, Gabriela Magala, Katrin Davidsdottir, Emma Carey, and Emma McQuaid on the field.
And none of these athletes have had a clean run from start to finish just yet. And usually, third time's a charm, so to speak. So we'll see if this is the one where they can put it all together. Carey's had a misstep on a lift. Lowen had some trouble with the sandbag. Davis was a little shaky on the receiving position for those snatches, but 3 rounds in, maybe you finally got warmed up, you found your rhythm and technique, and this is where athletes start sprinting through this a little bit faster.
Gabriela Magala is in the pink top. Coming into this event, she was in 3rd place, the 3rd and final spot on the podium. She still has some work to do here because Laura Horvath is still alive. Horvath is in the next heat.
Carey gets to the bar first again. She'll make her lift, but still that big step forward.
Much better on the second one. Emma Carey is through her third, and she will be first to the bag along with Katrin Davidsdottir. Top 5 times advancing to the final round. Now Carey having trouble with the bag. Davidsdottir has it on the pedal, so she will win. Here comes Magala, followed by Carey and McQuaid. And that leaves Ariel Lowen out on the field, and Lowen will come across.
That's Davidsdottir. Best run end to end, as you said, is that she finally figured out exactly how to cycle that bar on the snatches, didn't fumble with the bag whatsoever, and that's what got her actually ahead of Emma Carey. So Carey, yet again, not the cleanest run from end to end, and we'll see how that, if that gets her into the next round or not.
So one more look here at this first of 2 heats.
No issues again on the double unders, and a lot of times you're just sitting there and it's like, yeah, you can cycle fast. Actually, Katrin had one miss early on, able to reel it back in. Carey has always been quick off the bar, and I think at one of Carey's last double unders, I think her rope hits her hair, or her hair comes done at the end. So always an issue with double unders from time to time, just keeping that hair tied up tight. Now for Carey, she gets to it first, but now her hair tie came completely out. And that'll mess with you a little bit if you're not ready for that. So she has the big step forward, but Davidsdottir in the middle. No stumbles, no shaky steps, a clean 3 reps. Now Carey will get to the bag first, but can't quite get a grip. Davidsdottir in one move, ground to shoulder. That's her best run so far. And if she can do that again, depending on what happens in this next heat, she's going to be hard to beat in the next round.
Next 5 women coming out to the field: Laura Horvath, Amanda Barnhart, Kristen Holta, Tia Toomey, and Danielle Brandon. Laura Horvath on the far left of your screen has an outside chance of overtaking Gabriella Magala for the 3rd and final spot on the podium, but Horvath is going to have to advance here, and she's going to have to hope that Gabriella Magala does not in order for that to happen.
Now Horvath, in the last one, that was her first run. It was a very shaky 3 snatches for her, but we saw the same thing in the Bella Complex. Her first lift was her worst one, but her best one was the last one. So I think for Laura is that she just needs to get that weight under her belt, and she adapts and improves greatly from round to round.
Second and final heat of this round of 10 is underway. After this, we will go to the round of 5 and then a final matchup of the top 2 women.
Nothing is for sure. As we've seen on the men's side, all it takes is 1 bar to hit the ground. So it's a very focused intensity that they're going to need on the rope and these 3 snatches in the middle.
You mentioned Carey Pierce retiring. This is Kristen Holta's last season as well, as she has announced that she's going to retire after her last couple of competitions. She got to the barbell along with Tia Toomey. They are right next to each other. Holta struggling with that second rep. Toomey has gotten through 3. Danielle Brandon is to the bag. Laura Horvath to the bag first, and Horvath's going to take the heat. Tia Toomey is in. Here's Holta, Brandon, and now Amanda Barnhart is across. And all these times were faster than the prior heat. This is looking like it's going to be the final 5.
Horvath figured it out. Just saying I told you so. Oh, I can't wait to run that back. And I wish we could do a side-by-side of Horvath's first round and her second round. So right off the start, very smooth. Everybody across the line, 1 through 5. I just kept my eye on Horvath. Once we moved from the rope to the snatches, Horvath's all the way on the left in lane number 1. As we said, in her first round, every rep she had was very shaky, not in control. And that really slowed her down a bit. But she gets to the bar about the same time as Tia, Barnhart, and Brandon. In fact, Holta in the center lane, she's done first, but she has a slower walk to the bar. But watch Horvath in the bottom. Solid. Solid again. Third one, probably her best one. in no time. Lap, pedestal, in. If she can do that again, no one's beating her. I don't really see anywhere anyone else can go faster than, unless maybe they push the pace on the double unders. They race to the bar, but that's still a risky gamble to play. Laura Horvath, that's what I was looking for from her in this second set.
And if she can win this event, she basically has to win this event in order to have any sort of chance whatsoever of getting into third place overall. Does look like she's going to wind up at least in fourth, because Haley Adams, the woman right ahead of her in the overall leaderboard, and Adams was 30 points ahead of her, finished 11th. And you want to talk about just uncanny, weird similarities. Both Annie Thorisdottir and Pat Vellner, who came in second place at this event, had the mistake, didn't advance. Both of them are going to wind up finishing 13th in this final event.
Wow. I mean, what a weird weekend it's been, from lead changes. I mean, how bad can it be, though, if you're sitting in the dugout with your daughter? I mean, the dad in me says, it's going to be okay,
It's going to be just
Annie.
fine.
It's going to be just fine. But it is weird, just the opportunity to get into first place, the misstep in the same exact round, finishing in the same exact place, eventually going to get the same exact results. No wonder we like this sport so much.
And you see
just absolutely no storylines to talk about whatsoever, Sean.
You know, Pat Vellner and Justin Madera still in the dugout. They are fierce competitors, but there's obviously a mutual respect between the two of them, and they are friends off the competition floor, but definitely rivals on it. It's going to be fun to watch that play out into next season.
As it should be. I mean, be a fierce competitor, but also be a decent human being at the same time. It's okay to do both. You can be cutthroat on the competition floor. 3, 2, 1, beep. We are no longer friends. And then at the end is like, all right, give me a high five. Well done.
Got a good crowd on hand throughout the weekend here at the Dell Diamond in Round Rock, Texas. There is the bracket board, and you can see 13th place at the bottom, Annie Thorisdottir.
The hard part here is just knowing how good she would have been. And for story's sake, who didn't want to watch an Annie Tia, the last two there, winner-take-all scenario? But we're getting a great race, and the race now is the place on the podium, Sean, as you said, with Laura Horvath. Now she's going to advance, and advance with the top time to beat. She's still on the outside looking in as far as that podium's concerned, but I would say if she has a potential to get on the podium with a handstand push-up event in the programming, with only 7 events, mind you, like that has a much more impact than people think. If you have one handstand push-up event in, say, a 14 or 15 event competition, it doesn't have as much of an impact on it. But when you have a 7, that's about 15% of your competition nearly in last because of one movement.
We're now awaiting the final 5, and it's looking like it is going to be the same 5 we just saw.
Wow. Well, the big thing here is that it was the fastest heat. No mistakes by any of them across the board. You were only advancing 2 into the next round.
And they're putting the placements up of the women who did not make it in. So Gabriella Magala finishes in 7th place. That's going to be good for 70 points. And the best that Laura Horvath can do is win the whole thing and earn 100. So she could make up 30. And she trailed by 45. So it doesn't look like Laura Horvath is going to be able to make up that deficit on Gabriella Magala. But that's unofficial right now.
I think the biggest separator, if they all have a clean run, now is going to be getting to that bag without tripping over your barbell, for one, and just getting the hands underneath in a position that may not be the best, but just hoping for the best, trying to lap that to the pedestal as fast as you can. It's going to come down to the sandbag for this one.
Amanda Barnhart, Kristen Holta, Laura Horvath, Tia Toomey, and Danielle Brandon.
Horvath has the fastest time coming in from the previous round. She's in lane 3, in the middle lane. Just a great fast turnover. Holta and Toomey, all of them are spinning fast, so there's not going to be a lot of separation here. You can see actually Horvath looking at her judge to see what number she is on. Everyone's focused forward other than Laura Horvath in lane 3.
Kristen Holta's judges had his hand in the air first, and now a mad dash to the barbells. All 5 women getting it at the same time. First rep down for Holta, touch and go for her, and
Barnhart.
Tia Toomey. Barnhart with a missed rep. 3 done for Horvath, 3 done for Toomey. It comes down to the bag. Horvath has it up on the pedestal. Now a sprint to the finish, and Laura Horvath is going to take it. Tia Toomey is going to finish in second. Here comes Danielle Brandon, followed by Holta. Amanda Barnhart's going to take 5th. So it's going to be a showdown between Tia Toomey and Laura Horvath in our final round.
And Laura Horvath almost tripped over her barbell. In fact, she has actually had one of the slowest rounds on the double under, but again, her cycle rate on the snatches got her just ahead of Tia. Now Barnhart, who has one of the faster times that we've seen in 3 rounds, had a misstep on the barbell. So there's not a lot of separation. And Horvath's in the middle in lane 3. And about halfway through, she's going to turn her head and look at her judge. And a lot of times what that tells me is that she's already lost count to where she is. And that's a distraction. And you can see her bouncing a little bit higher, trying not to miss, where everyone else is dialed in, looking forward. And she gets off the platform last to Barnhart. But look at Barnhart in the bottom part of your screen. Rushes the rep, doesn't extend all the way through, trying to move too fast. And that's all it takes in this group. And Horvath, ooh, that bag is
Teetering on the edge.
Right on the edge. And here we go, Laura Horvath, Tia Toomey.
The worst Laura Horvath can do is second. Same story of Tia Toomey. And if Horvath does finish second, it will be her 3rd second place finish in this competition. Her 4th of 5th or better. But what kept her really off the podium was the 19th place finish in event number 6. She also had a 12th and an 11th in events 4 and 5. So she had a stretch there where she's had finishes outside the top 10. But now looking for another top 2 finish here.
Looking at Tia Toomey on the left. Doesn't even look phased about what they just went through. And here's the thing with Tia Toomey is we said they went back and forth with Annie all weekend long. And Annie this weekend almost had a near perfect performance just to be ahead of Tia, just behind Tia. Again, they exchanged leaderboard positions for 6 events. But that's what it takes to beat or even push an athlete like Tia Toomey, is near perfection. And when that doesn't happen, the floodgates open as far as the disparity between points on the leaderboard.
It's Laura Horvath and Tia Toomey in the final 2. So unlike the men, 2 women who did get a bye wind up as the final 2. Horvath, Adams, Magala, Thorisdottir, and Toomey did not have to compete in round 1, and now Toomey and Horvath remain. Tia Toomey looking to become the 3-time Rogue Invitational champion.
And there's minimal separation between them. The only time Tia got Horvath was in their first round. And since then, it's been Horvath twice, but the time frame has gotten less and less.
Laura Horvath making her 3rd appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. Her first was in 2019. She finished 19th there. That sort of kicked off a series of unfortunate events for her where she just couldn't seem to get on track. But last year in the virtual competition at the Rogue Invitational, she took 5th. And now looking at another top 5 finish in 2021. Vellner and Madera still having a chat. Probably enjoying being spectators now that their work is done. And Tia Toomey and Laura Horvath is continuing to look focused and prepare for their final showdown here. Where the athletes have been spending most of their time right before the competition, the 3rd base dugout.
What a fun setup. Sitting underneath the dugout, waiting for your names to get called out till you get in front of this big crowd here.
Tia Toomey looking for her 2nd event win of the competition. She won event number 2, the Bella Bar Complex, had a record in that, in fact, 260 pounds. Has never finished lower than 7th in this competition.
Laura's at 257. She's three pounds behind her. And some sportsmanship and respect shown before we get on the platform, and then it's on.
And not the first 2 that these 2 have been involved in this kind of battle. I think back to 2018 when Laura Horvath first came on the scene. She was chasing Tia Toomey in 2nd place.
Shannon actually taking the win there in Aeneas.
And then this past year in Madison, 1st and 2nd. And now a little microcosm of those 2 competitions. Final round here, Laura Horvath going head-to-head with Tia Toomey.
For Horvath, she just needs to not break on the double unders. And then it's kind of her game once they get to the barbell. Which is crazy to say when you're talking Tia-Clair Toomey.
Here we go. 60 double unders kick things off. Toomey may have started just ahead of Laura Horvath. So far, both athletes mistake-free on these 60 reps.
Toomey is a bit faster than Horvath is. Again, they've only been separated by about 2 or 3 seconds.
Judge's hand in the air for Toomey.
And she's going to get that on the bar. This might be enough to get Toomey a shot.
First rep down for Toomey, first rep down for Horvath, 2nd for Toomey, 2nd for Horvath. Both women hanging onto the barbell. Toomey done first. Toomey to the sandbag, just ahead of Horvath. Toomey gets it up and onto the pedestal, and Tia Toomey is going to win event 7, and she is your 3-time Rogue Invitational champion.
Let's go!
You can get her once, you might be able to get her twice, but 3 times is not going to happen.
He said it takes near perfection to take the greatest CrossFit athlete we've ever seen grace the competition floor down. And it all came down to the start. Not even the double unders, the start. And that's how close it is. And that's how great of 2 athletes we had here at the end between Laura Horvath and Tia Toomey.
Tia Toomey will finish in first place again. Annie Thorisdottir unofficially will take 2nd, and it looks like Gabriella Magala will wind up in third. We will have to wait for the official results, but we do know that for the third time, Tia Toomey has won the Rogue Invitational. She won it in Ohio, she won it when it was a virtual competition, and now she's won it here when it was held in a baseball stadium just outside of Austin, Texas. And send it down to Kiki Dixon, who is with your 3-time champion.
Tia, the 2021 Rogue Invitational has come to a close, and now you are its 3-time champion. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You know, millions of people tune in to see you do what you do. You inspire them, they love it, but why do you love competing?
I think it's just been a part of who I am since I was a little girl, you know. Being out on the floor, pushing yourself to limits you never thought were possible is just so exhilarating. It might suck at the time, but afterwards it's just such a great feeling. And then, you know, over the years, as I've been able to compete in front of like crowds and in front of loved ones, friends, family, it just makes it that much better, that much more important. And, you know, it's because of everyone out here cheering us on that we're able to do what we're doing. And, you know, I'm forever grateful for that.
You're a very sharp competitor, but very observant as well. I imagine each time you come into a competition or event, you're looking to learn something about yourself, about the competitors competing overall. What'd you learn here these past 3 days?
Don't leave it to the last day.
And you also seem like a very eyes-forward athlete, but you have created such a legacy. How often do you look back and appreciate that?
Oh, on a daily basis, you know, I have to, otherwise I get so consumed on trying to get better. And, you know, there's always hard days that you don't feel like you're progressing forward. And then you have to look back on the journey that you've done and the things that you've, you know, gone out and put yourself through, and you're like, okay, yeah, no, there's progress. There's definitely some improvements, and, you know, really enjoying the journey and being around the people that you love, that support you, that care, and that are really good people. You know, I honestly, like, it was hard training for the bobsled and for the Rogue Invitational. So I owe it to my team to, you know, keeping me in the zone, keeping me remembering that, hey, it's all going to be worth it. And I owe it to them for sure.
Thank you so much, and congratulations, Tia.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Tia Toomey, 3 Rogue Invitational championships, does it with her second event win of the competition. And in the 3 years of this competition, she has won 10 total events.
I mean, to continue to build on the legacy that she's already built for herself, to rewrite history every time she steps on the competition floor, to continue to improve, to do things like Rogue Invitational, Winter Olympics on the horizon for Tia-Clair Toomey. After doing the Summer Games, I mean, you're running out a lot of things to say, but she keeps giving you opportunities to expand on how great she really is. So what a pleasure it was to watch her compete and then to find that success through some of the adversity that she hasn't seen in a few years was, I mean, it's dangerous, still dangerous.
Tia Toomey, your 3-time Rogue Invitational champion. Justin Medeiros wins his first for the men, and with that, we are done with the 2021 Rogue Invitational. It has been a fun 3 days here in Round Rock, Texas. We hope you have enjoyed all of our coverage. For Chase Ingram, Pat Sherwood, China Cho, Lawrence Chalet, Dr. Bill Crawford, and our entire crew here in Round Rock, Texas, thank you so much for spending the weekend with us, everybody. This has been the 2021 Rogue Invitational.